Hi, parents, and welcome to this parent workshop. My name is Marcelina Carrillo, and I will be talking about standardized testing today. Our content outline is what is standardized testing, why are standardized tests important, when does testing happen, who takes the test, how are test results are used, and there is a common test that is given known as the MAP. So I will be focusing on that type of test, and we'll get to know a little bit more by the time we're done with this presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is standardized testing? A standardized test is any form of test that, number one, requires all test takers to answer the same questions or a selection of questions from common bank of questions in the same way. And that number two is it is scored in a standard or consistent manner, which makes it possible to compare the relative performance of individual students or groups of students. So why are standardized tests important? Well, these are used to hold school and educators accountable for educational results and students' performance, to elevate whether students have learned what they are expected to learn, to identify gaps in the students' learning and academic progress, and what a learning gap is difference between what a student has learned and the academic progress he or she has made, and what that student was expected to learn of a certain point of his or her education, such as a particular age or a grade level. So these tests help us identify the gaps that the student might be lacking in, so we are able to fill in with more teaching lectures according to that gap that was found during the test, and also to determine whether the educational policies are working as intended. So when does testing happen? So standardized tests happen 3 times per year. It's right in the beginning of the year, which is fall, and the beginning of the second semester, which is winter, and the beginning of the third semester, which is spring. So who takes the test? All students in the elementary sitting school will be tested from grades kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. Kindergarten is more of an optional, whatever the teacher chooses to do. It's an optional for kindergarten, but it is required for the rest of the school grade levels to take this test. So how are the results used? Standardized test scores are used by district and states to identify student progress, measure how students are performing in different schools, and to compare how different groups of students perform relatively to others. Scores are also collected and reviewed by teachers who are able to determine the type of assistance the student is needing to be placed, such as in a reading group or a math group. This is to fill in the gaps needed to get the student up to grade level. Again, there is the results that we get we're able to see what type of help the student is needing to be able to succeed at a grade level. If not, bring him up to as close as we can to their grade level. So there is a common test that is given in an elementary school, which is called the NWEA MAP growth. It is mostly known as a MAP test. And what it is a standardized, nationally normed, standardized achievement test which measures what students know and informs what they're ready to learn next by using a computer adaptive test that adjusts to the ability and the knowledge of the student. So the MAP test. During the first weeks of school, students will participate in 2 MAP testing sessions to assess reading and mathematics. When taking the MAP test, the difficulty of each question is based on how well a student answers all the previous questions. As the student answers correctly, the questions become more difficult, If the student answers incorrectly, the questions become easier. Although the tests are not timed, it usually takes students about 1 hour to complete each test. Students will repeat the test 2 more times during the year to continually assess students' progress and adapt learning as needed. The mid-year test is a shorter version of the other two. Are all the students in the same grade? Do all the students in the same grade take the same test? Yes and no. So all the students do begin to take the test at the same level, but as they go and they start answering questions, the test starts to become tailored to what their answers are being given. So no, this assessment is not designed to target students' academic performance in mathematics or reading and science. These tests are tailored to an individual's current achievement level. This gives each student a fair opportunity to show what he or she knows and can do, because the computer adjusts the difficulty of the questions as the test progresses. Each student takes a unique test. So a question that I feel as a parent, a lot of you may have is, does the MAP testing affect the student's grade? No, this test is an assessment is designed to target a student's academic performance in mathematics, reading, and science. These tests are tailored to an individual's current achievement level, so it does not affect the current grade level. This is just for us to be able to monitor students' growth and to be able to fill in any gaps of learning that may be needed as a student. After we get the results of each individual student, we're able to work with those results and provide a better service for the student and their current goals to allow them to become closer to their grade level or to meet their actual goal they're trying to reach. So how can you help to prepare your child for MAP testing? So I recommend meet with your teacher as often as needed to discuss his or her progress. Working together as a team will benefit your child. Provide comfortable, quiet place for studying at home. Make sure that your child is well rested on school days, especially on the day of the test. Children who are tired are less able to pay attention in class or to handle the demand of a test. Give your child a well-rounded diet. A healthy body leads to a healthy, active mind. Provide books and magazines for your child to read at home. By reading new material, a child learns new words that might appear on the test. Ask your child's teacher or media specialist for suggested outside reading list. So what we have here right now is a MAP goal score translation chart. So if you look to your left side, you have the grade level here. And these are the scores that are expected for the fall. So if your child is in first grade and they take their test and receive a 157, well, that's a given that your child falls under the low. And so then that's where we come in as teachers and provide what that student needs to be able to at least get to meet their winter goal. If not, get closer to an average score here. So if you can tell that there's fall, winter, spring, each goal every year goes up about 10 minutes, 10 points, I'm sorry. And it grows as obviously as a year goes by, it keeps growing a little bit. Let's focus on first grade. If your child in high has 170 that first fall session, he's expected to have a 180 in winter. And in spring, he's expected to have a 186. And this is for reading. If you come down here to, I'm sorry, this is for mathematics. If you come down here for reading, we have the first graders here. Oh, sorry about that. First graders here. It is a lower grade level, but the levels are still as expected for each semester, which is fall, winter, and spring. So this is a tool that you are able to, as a parent, use to determine whether your child is low, average, or high. So where can I go for more information about MAP testing? You can talk with your child's teacher or go directly to NWA website and the link I just posted here, or read a whole parent toolkit document and the website provided here as well. Thank you for coming to our workshop. I hope you guys have learned more about your standardized testing and the test your child's take. If you have any questions, go ahead, email me, make a phone call, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions.